Okay, let's talk about the AR-15. It's a name you hear all the time, right? But what is it, really? Like beyond all the noise? Well, today we're going to demystify this thing. We'll break down its design, look at where it came from, and figure out its role in the world today, all based on our source material. So yeah, let's just dive right into that big question. It's a name that carries so much weight, you see it everywhere, from the gun range to the nightly news. But what is it, mechanically speaking? To figure that out, we've got to look at its anatomy first.
All right, Section 1, Anatomy of a Rifle. We're going to break down the absolute basics. You know, how it's put together and how it actually works.
So the first thing you got to know is that at its core, the AR-15 is a lightweight rifle, and that was totally intentional. Right from the start, the goal was to make something that was easy to carry and handle, especially for long periods. Okay, here's a super important term we need to get straight. Semi-automatic. All this means is that when you pull the trigger once, it fires one single round. That's it. This is completely different from a fully automatic weapon, where you can hold the trigger down and it just keeps firing. That distinction, it's absolutely key to understanding how this thing works. But here's the thing that really makes the AR-15 stand out. It's all about its modular design. Think of it less like a finished product and more like a set of Legos. It's a base platform, a foundation that you can build on and customize like crazy.
So what does modular actually mean here? Well, it means the key parts aren't locked in place. You can swap out the barrel for one that's more accurate, you can change the stock so it fits you better, you can add different sights, or switch the handguard to attach things like lights or grips. It's this incredible adaptability that makes the whole platform so versatile.
Okay, so now we know what it is, but where did it come from? Let's jump into its backstory and trace how it went from a simple design concept to a name everybody recognizes. So the story kicks off back in the 1950s. The designer was a guy named Eugene Stoner, and he worked for a company called ArmaLite. And here's a great piece of trivia for you. The AR in R-15, it stands for ArmaLite, not assault rifle, which is a really common misconception. Anyway, after ArmaLite designed it, the patent was eventually sold off. That's when tons of other manufacturers started making their own versions for the civilian market, and, well, that's when its popularity just exploded. And that history leads us right to today. In the modern world, the AR-15 is both a tool and a huge topic of conversation. So let's get into that modern context. As more and more companies started making them, the AR-15 just took off. It became one of the most popular rifles out there, especially in the United States. Because it was so adaptable and so widely available, it started popping up in all sorts of different places, used for all sorts of different reasons.
You know, it's fascinating. This rifle basically lives in two completely different worlds at the same time. On one side, you've got its practical uses, for things like sport shooting or just target practice. For many people, it's a tool, a piece of equipment for a hobby. But then, on the other side, it's right at the center of these huge public debates about firearm safety, laws, and policy. It's the exact same object, but people see it through two totally different lenses.
So when you step back and look at it, what you've got is this super adaptable design from the 1950s that has somehow become one of the most recognizable and one of the most debated pieces of technology on the planet. And that leaves us with one last big question to think about. What does the story of this single rifle really tell us about that messy, complicated place where technology, culture, and policy all collide?